Hey, it's Jorrel, and this is
Jake.
and we're coming at you live from Little 103. It is currently 2 a.m. and we will be hosting a debate on Neuralinks and their impact on, humanity. And under the guise of ethical theories that we've discussed in class. So Jake over here can talk you through what his position is.
Yep, so I'm arguing for Neuralink, and I'm arguing that it's a good thing for its future use in humans, whereas Jorrel is arguing against me.
I am arguing against the implementation of Neuralinks in humanity, and my main points of focus will be, one, the social imbalance that it may cause, and two, the barriers to entry. And if I take a look at some of the notes I've prepared here.
So, real quick, neither of us have seen the other's notes, so this is a true debate, which is kind of exciting.
And another thing that I was going to mention was that I believe that Neuralink may cause disruptions within the relationships we have with other people. Alright, so I guess we can get started.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't know. I'm assuming you read Neuralink's website.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Their main three missions, giving people with quadriplegia the ability to control their computers and mobile devices with their thoughts. That's insane.
I do
that
agree.
Sounds super
and I
cool.
think especially in this area of helping people who might not have full motor function, I think it's a great idea.
All right, so it sounds like I win.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think so.
So, first off, I wanted to look at Neuralink from just a basic utilitarian perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as you said, it's giving its users the ability to interact with the world around them when they otherwise would not be able to, at the cost of nobody else.
Yeah.
It's inherently a good.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And, would you agree with that? That's inherently,
sure. I mean,
that's inherently a good thing.
I do agree.
You agree that people should be able to interact in society.
Yeah, it helps people who might not have that, full function. So.
Exactly. So, and it, like I said, it's not at the disadvantage of others.
Mm-hmm.
And so, through utilitarianism, if we're not helping those people, isn't that the unethical thing? Isn't that morally wrong?
I mean, sure. In that case, yeah, I agree. I mean, when I argue against Neuralink, I'm more talking about the point when this moves past this medical trial stage, when it's first being implemented, when this gets released to the public. But I mean, in its current state, I mean, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, well, what do you envision for when it gets released to the public?
So, I mean, right.
I don't know. From my point of view, I'm imagining it kind of like it is now. I'm not really imagining Neuralink as something being oh, let me go get my Neuralink implanted. I see it more as a medical tool than just a new smart device being implanted.
Well, yeah, but think of the implications, right? I mean, right now, super cool technology. I don't know if you've seen the videos of this, but on their website they have videos of people controlling a mouse cursor across a screen using purely just their thoughts, their brain.
Yeah.
By I think they said they tell them to think about moving their hand towards the top of the screen, and just by virtue of the fact they're thinking it moves the cursor, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm concerned about is that say in the future this technology will obviously improve over time. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah, as technology does.
So, I mean, imagine interacting with not just a mouse cursor moving towards circles, but you're actually interacting with, say, a web browser. If I'm taking a test, I've got a Neuralink, I interact with the web browser through my brain, I'm getting information that, people might not have access to. Or, at work, I might the implications of I might be way more productive than my colleagues. I get ahead faster. I get more promotions.
Wait, what? Because you can.
I mean,
you can imagine your arm moving instead of actually being able to let your arm move.
No. I'm saying, if you have something in your mind that can interface with a computer in maybe situations where you're not supposed to, like such as a test, right? You're able to get ahead of people that don't have that same ability.
Are you talking about like Neuralink as it is right now, or is this like a more advanced
in the future?
Like so this is a theoretical Neuralink.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's...
like are you saying that like, okay, if I'm taking a test, I can like, let's say I have a Neuralink implanted.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm taking a test, and then I can think to myself, oh God, what is 10 times 12? And it'll just appear.
That's not too far off from what the current technology is. If you move your cursor...
Dude, hold on. That's transmitting thoughts into your... Like, what? I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you have to admit,
Interfacing with the brain is incredible.
Yeah.
But that's all it's really doing. It's reading neuron signals for areas of the brain that we know control arms and leg movement.
All right, let's say
like the technology would have to be miles and miles ahead of what it is now to even think about like writing data to a brain.
What if we like break it down to a really simple case?
Okay.
A Neuralink that can control, I don't know, a calculator.
Okay.
Right? You move your big toe, type a 1. Move your middle toe is type a 2.
Okay, so every appendage is a different number.
Sure. I mean, but the point is, right? You theoretically with this framework, you could probably build an entire calculator from that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
As you get used to this Neuralink in your brain, that association grows stronger. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure if such a invention existed, within a long period of time of using this, it becomes natural. All of a sudden you're a human calculator.
That's a good point. I didn't really. Well, I mean, it would just have to be highly regulated. That's the thing. A very easy counter-argument, a very easy argument for you to be against Neuralink would be what are the implications of connecting human brains to the internet? Does that mean that if you have a Neuralink chip, I have the possibility to hack you, to hack into you and screw around with you? I think that's a very real rebuttal that you would have, and
it's nice that you're giving me the rebuttals.
Yeah, I
hadn't even thought of that.
well, you can talk about that. You can talk about how even companies could commercialize. What's stopping them from beaming an ad into your Neuralink, into your brain? What I'm getting at is...
it sounds like you're on my side there.
No, what I'm getting at is, obviously, these are, obvious problems that could be had.
Sure.
So, obviously it's going to have to be highly regulated.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I agree.
And so, stuff like what you're saying would be prevented. Human calculators type stuff. Yeah, that would be a great add-on, but in places where, say, a test or something like that, where it's not allowed, there's got to be plans in place to prevent it. It's just like back when we were in high school, you had to take the the New Jersey placement exam or whatever on the computer. Yeah, it was on a computer, but it locked everything, and you couldn't access anything other than the exam, So I feel like that's a very real possibility, and probably the way that it would move in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree. I mean, things like this should be highly regulated. But I mean, there's also there's also the problem that, you know, it's not very visible. You know, it's in your brain.
That's true.
How do you know someone has a Neuralink?
Yeah, because
how could you?
Have you seen the surgery robot that they use? To like
the one with the grape?
No. No. The one that Neuralink uses, so like Neuralink implants are only placed by robots.
Yes.
And it's designed to make like leave like almost zero marks.
Yeah.
So like you're right.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's a real concern because, like, okay, say now you have a human calculator,
okay,
right? But you know, to any of us, if we ran into someone like that, we'd just say, "Wow, that person's really smart," and
be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah. So this is just something that's very hard to regulate as well.
Yeah. Well then.
Unless you want to start like IDing people and like keeping tabs on whether or not
Which
they've gotten Neuralinks.
Yeah, have it like on your license. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking like right now you're making me think about like virtue ethics.
Yeah.
Or no, not virtue ethics. Sorry, deontology, where it's like, okay, if you're lying, it's bad no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like low key helping your point rather than mine. But like when you think about that, wouldn't it be just like under deontology? It would just be like completely unethical to ever put a calculator in someone's head, the way that you were suggesting. Because then like, would you not be lying to everyone that?
I mean, I guess
you a math
under this, like under the deontological theory, I mean, I don't see the issue with like getting Neuralink in the first place. It's more like it just has to be accurately disclosed, you know, when you're using it, so people know that it's maybe not you that's actually making these decisions, right? Like the same way, you know, our classes have us disclose use of ChatGPT as acknowledgements now that it's like a major part of our life.
I see.
Instead, like before, you know, if you just use ChatGPT, you know, people just cheat. Yeah. But now I think people are adapting to this new society with ChatGPT, and instead saying, you know, if you're using large language models, you know, cite them, show where you use them, because that shows what work is yours and what isn't. And I think that's something that has to be, you know, stressed going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think. So the other like major point I have, you know, arguing for the use of Neuralink is under the ethics of care, and like how, you know, an impacted individual with a Neuralink implant, how it changes their life and their ability to interact with their loved ones and kind of reintegrate into society. You know, right now it's for quadriplegics.
Yes.
But in the future, you know, they're targeting, you know, can we restore vision? Can we restore, you know, being, you know, deaf? Can we restore Parkinson's? Like, those would have major implications on not only, like, the person, but that person's loved ones, their families, their partners, their friends. And then it gives them that sense of belonging, interacting with the whole of society. So like, I mean, that's why I think that's the best out of everything I have here. This is my home run.
Okay.
Like this is the best.
Well, I mean,
the best argument I can give you is that, like, obviously it's going to be ethical to implant Neuralinks into people who need them. It would just greatly improve the quality of their life. And like, ethics of care, it's all about, you know, human interaction, right? So it's even like the relationship between the doctor and his patient. Like, he wants his patient to have a better quality of life.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think our main difference here is that your vision of Neuralink is something that brings people that might not have the same advantages we do and bring them up to us. Where I'm more concerned about the future of Neuralink, where, you know, it lets people surpass the average person and get an advantage in like society.
So yeah, I think I'm more looking at Neuralink as a medical device, and I think you're more looking at it as like a social device.
Yes, maybe we agree more than we think. Like,
but
especially,
I will say it could very easily turn from a medical device to a social device.
I mean, I think right now it's posited as a medical device because that's what's necessary to perform trials, right?
Yeah.
Like Neuralink's mission right now is to like get this tested in medical trials because, you know, people who are quadriplegics, you know, they really don't have many other options if they want to like, you know, interface with the world.
Yeah.
Right? It's very difficult for them, and this is just like, you know, a very good way of getting to that. So I think that's also like kind of their, like Neuralinks as like a company has that motivation to help, you know.
Oh, so you're saying that they're only going medical right now, and then,
I mean, I think
it's motivation.
Yeah.
But in the long term, they can say, "Hey, look, we've shown this works well in all these situations.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to make this available to the general public."
I think that's part of their mission, right? Like,
just connecting humans to computers,
like supplementing like the human mind with like, you know, technology, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like right now, it's, you know, helping people like that might not have like the full function, but, you know, in the future when it's, you know, assuming that this becomes a product that's maybe available to the public, you know, I would also assume it's, you know, paywalled behind a pretty large fee.
Yeah.
And in that case, you know, all these advantages that come with Neuralink is something that only benefits, you know, people who are wealthy. Better off. So then now you have a situation where, you know, people who are wealthy have, you know, increased productivity and just perform better in their day-to-day life, propelling them forward even more, while people who might not have access to technology are starting to fall behind.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the like very, very far future that you're talking about, and I'm gonna agree with you again. I just don't think it's ethical to even start those.
Like
to even like start like the social aspect. Like my for Neuralink argument that I have prepared and that I believe in wholeheartedly. Like, I think it should strictly stay as a medical device.
Well, it looks like we agree.
But, like, I don't know. I could see some sort of ethical reasoning behind integrating, like, the social, like...
I mean,
like,
I think
what you're saying?
I think a utilitarian would say, like, regardless of, or in this like future conceptual like understanding of Neuralink, a utilitarian could say like, hey, you know, one person being way smarter than everyone else would still benefit society because they're providing like
that's true.
Yeah,
now
they're providing value to society.
Yeah, but then what
I'm doing is arguing against like the utilitarian point, like in general. Like that's not the stance you should take.
Well, it's a stance I'm now going to take.
Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead?
Well, like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, under utilitarianism, the greater information that's made available, the better it is for society. Like, I don't know. The thing is, the more information you have is not, like, equivalent to, like, if you're getting smarter. Like, I feel like being able to use that information is most important. And maybe, like, having it...
Could Neuralink supplement the ability to use that information as well?
It could.
I mean, yeah, definitely, right? Like, You know, think about if you're reading a really dense article,
and then you just
throw it
like,
into
throw
ChatGPT,
it into
summarize
GPT
it
and just
in
say, hey,
like a 5-year-old's language, and then all of a sudden you've got a
I've done that for some math problems a few times.
So like, I mean, yeah, I do think like Neuralink as a way of, you know, propelling people ahead of everyone else is something that we should really be concerned about. And also, to keep on this utilitarian track, I mean, how are you performing this insane computation that, like, it's not just the benefit of, like, a smart person, right? Like, all these people who may now be way less well off in society because more of the wealth is concentrated at the top, right? Like, that could be negative. That could count as negative utility counting against this. Like, you can't even balance this computation. Like, this is too large of a math problem.
just throw it into ChatGPT. It'll be able to solve it.
Yeah, maybe if I get a Neuralink, I'll be able to solve
it.
that.
Yeah, it could do it.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, let me propose. Now, if it was made available to everyone, let's say theoretically.
Way future.
Yeah, way future. Neuralinks are costing $2.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, anyone who wants one can get one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it, from a utilitarian standpoint, is it not more ethical to give them out to people? Because you're no longer putting people at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I'm just most concerned about the stage when certain groups get to get ahead while certain groups don't get to.
I don't think that this technology is heading in that direction.
In the, like, social...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I understand your concerns, and, like, Alright, so, we spoke for another, like, 8 minutes after that just cut off. But it seems that the phone that we're using ran out of storage, recording those last 8 minutes. So, we're going to give a probably slightly shorter recap of
the
kind of what we went over. And then we'll
go from there.
Yeah. But the video cut off.
So Jake was discussing, what if Neuralinks were $2?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What if anyone on the street could afford a Neuralink?
Is it ethical then?
I would say yeah, because my main concern is that it's not accessible to anyone, and certain groups get ahead while certain groups fall behind.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to, like, think through.
Remember what we were talking about.
One of the major things that we discussed was how you and I have two different visions for how Neuralink is going to proceed in the future.
So Jake is
like there's two forks in the road.
Yeah.
Right.
Your fork.
My fork is the optimist in me is that Neuralink continues to be used in what I think is the most ethical way.
Yeah.
Which I would consider under, like, care ethics of care, helping others, right? Medically. Yeah. And, like, bringing a better quality of life to people who need it. Mm-hmm. Your path, on the other hand, is more of a, like...
I'm more concerned
with a monopoly almost.
I'm concerned with the holistic route. So I had two main points. One is, Neuralink will probably be kept behind, quite a large paywall, most likely, and this would allow for certain groups of people that could afford the Neuralink to just get way ahead because of. In this future where, it supplements, like, the human, like, ability to an extent where they're better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, people who could afford it will get ahead, while people who can't will just fall behind, and it just increases this disparity. And I think, what was my other main concern? I had one more. Oh, the other main concern I had was that Neuralink right now is under a private company. Right, this is not something that's publicly done, and now this raises concerns about companies are looking for profit. I mean, that's their whole incentive structure, So then, when you have a for-profit company, you know, who wants to sell these Neuralinks, you know, it's not necessarily in their best interest to, you know, sell to everyone for $2.
Well, yeah, but I think it's in their best interest to stay in the medical field.
Yeah.
Like think of how many for-profit companies there are in the medical field, right? Like what we had discussed, like Johnson & Johnson, right? Mm-hmm. They're a for-profit company, but their whole thing is about helping people, right? Mm-hmm. It's profitable for them to help people. And if they were to deviate away from that and go in a different direction, they would likely lose profit.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's in the best interests of Neuralink. Just think about how large its consumer base is. Mm-hmm. Like, they're targeting anyone with a disability, anyone who's blind, who has no motor function. Like, don't you think that being that they've already developed that tech and they're in testing for it already, is it not like the most profitable and most like in their best interest, not to mention the most ethical, for them to stick on that route? Because they're never gonna run out of customers.
Yeah, sure.
Like, they're strictly going to be restricted by just how many they can make and how many surgeries they can do.
Sure.
Like, I just don't see your fork of like the fully for-profit, like evil company kind of thing. I just don't see that being the realistic option for them.
One of the things I brought up was like, maybe let's like narrow down the population. Let's only look at, you know, say all deaf people. Now, only certain deaf people can afford this Neuralink, while other deaf people can't.
Yeah.
How is it fair that some rich deaf person gets to, you know, like cure their deafness, but other poor ones cannot?
Well, it's not. Like it's blatantly fair for you to say it's not, but that's just a flaw in the U.S. health system. Like anything is like that. Like I mentioned insulin. Like, companies can make insulin cost a ton of money, and like that's recently something that's been lowered, but previously insulin was like $800 for a vial, and people who like needed it but couldn't afford it, don't have insurance, they're just not able to get the care, which is not right.
Yeah,
that's just not right. Like, that's where the health system is flawed, and it needs to be kind of revamped there. But like at the end of the day, Neuralink and devices like it need to be regulated
so that, you know, they don't become like insulin in the current like U.S. health market.
Like
it has to be something.
Like, even if you gotta think of that like from ethical standpoint too. Like this is an ethics class.
Yeah.
Like, ethically, it's not right that some people get it and others don't. Like, if you think about utilitarianism, it's in the best interest of the entire population that all deaf people, right, get
of course.
Neuralink. It's in under care ethics, same thing. It's in the best interest of doctors and other people to give Neuralink to these people. So it's more like, yes, it's the ethical thing to do. It's just, is it realistic with the current state of the health system? And that answer is no. Right now.
Yeah. Maybe in another world, another fork.
Yet another fork. Yeah, I mean, it seems that you and I actually tend to agree on a vast majority of
we just have different
discussing.
Anticipations of the future.
Yeah, like I think you're a little more dystopian going on.
And you're living in unicorn and rainbow world.
Well, I don't think it's that far off. Like, I think it's a real possibility.
I think the possibility that a company gets drawn to its profits is very cool and scary.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Something to be concerned about, something we have to regulate as a society, but there's a future for it. We just have to tread very carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, on the medical side, I think it's a good future ahead.
And I agree.
We'll have to wait and see 10 years into the future. Maybe we'll revisit this debate. Give it 10 years and
I'm gonna do way better than you because I have a Neuralink in my brain.
Oh God. Alright, well, sorry that the video cut out.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to be as real with you as possible. We didn't want to refilm the whole thing because now we kind of know each other's points and arguments. But, you know, still had a great debate, even though, you know, a good few minutes of it were off camera.
A majority of it was still fine. So
Yeah.
I think
We,
overall, huge success.
Yeah. Hope you, hope you appreciate our little recap there. But hope you enjoyed our, what time? 2:45 a.m. fireside chat.
Yep. We wish you happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thanks for a great semester, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Take care.